guys, this is Eric Lowe from Swordwind Historical Swordsmanship. In a previous video, I shared an interpretation of Marozzo's abattimento for the single sword using a small two-handed sword, or longsword, as we call it in modern HEMA. And I began breaking those down by section as we had previously done for the one-handed sword or side sword. Today, I'm going to wrap up our breakdown of the form with the longsword, beginning with the third part. We've covered uses of the falso from the left and the right. We've covered defenses against thrusts in various ways, and now we're going to get into some more close range work. So there are two sections here in this last third of the form. First starts from coda longa stretta. Notice my right foot is forward and my sword is on my right. This is appropriate for when we are relatively close to the opponent. And I'm going to do something that is somewhat unusual, at least from a German longsword standpoint, which is step forward while moving my sword from right to left. Notice that I am stepping towards my leading leg here. And I'm not just covering their sword here. He says, Marozzo says to give this with some force. So I am going to step forward while striking their sword and letting it come around. I've knocked their sword out of the way. I'm going to continue my way around to their right by stepping with my right foot. Notice I'm pointing my foot towards where my opponent would be. This is because my actual cut is to their leg, and I need to be able to really twist my hips all the way through this range of motion. From most German perspectives, this is a weird step because I am stepping with the same foot that I am cutting towards. What the Bolognese response to that is essentially that it is a little weird on the hips, and you have to pay attention to the point of your feet in order to let yourself really make these hip turns. But it also means you can work your way to a side of the opponent that they wouldn't necessarily expect you to be able to do, given the way that your foot is started. So I'm going to cut with some force, hit the leg. I come back with another reverso. I'm just sweeping the space in front of me at this point to make sure that I'm clear. And then I step forward, turning my hand and my body into porta di ferro stretta here. From porta di ferro stretta, I'm going to kind of make my false edge kiss theirs. Once our swords are joined, I strengthen with my true edge, winding my hands up to gain some leverage, stepping forward to thrust my point into their face. Assuming the opponent doesn't want me to stab them in the face, they're going to have to shove my sword off to the side. At this point, Marozzo says you have two options. The first is that you can step forward, grab their hand, and do some sort of presa, whatever seems good to you. If you don't want to do that, then you still step around and you give them a mandrito, followed by another mandrito. What's going on here is we're quite close. I'm cutting my opponent in the face. They are moving with a panic parry across their body. Just like at the beginning of the form, I ghost out of the way, using my left hand to really drive the sword back. And then I come all the way back in with the cut for real. When you're doing that, make sure that you're paying attention to your hips. So we don't want to be step aside and then just manipulating the sword with our hands. We want to be step to the side, driving that first cut with our hips. As we ghost the parry, we reset the hips, and then we hit them again with a full hip turn so that that cut is for real. From down here in coda longa, porta di ferro larga, we assume they have one more trick left in them. Step off to the side, hit their sword out of the way with the characteristic Bolognese falso manco, cut them, and then as you withdraw, we kind of arc the sword up into this thrust, sort of scorpion tail-like, which settles down into porta di ferro stretta, reset, and that signals the end of the form. So what we've got here is a series of fairly close range techniques. To work through those once again, hit the sword, hit the leg, cover, step forward to engage. Kiss edges, drive up for better leverage. If that doesn't hit, threaten them here, ghost the parry, hit them again. If they've got anything left still, step around, sweep their weapon out of the way, hit them, thrust as we withdraw, and reset. There is one wrinkle I want to point out here that works with the two-handed sword that does not work with a side sword, and that is that when we are coming around for this mandrito, because I have two hands on my weapon, I can really make this a falso tondo, or in German terminology, I can essentially make this a Zwerchau. If I do that, I still have to be worried that they're going to parry this. I still have to be ready to abort the Zwerchau, drop my weapon, and cut in. I'm going to demonstrate the form that way because I think this is an interesting way that Bolognese swordsmanship can adapt to the fact that you have two hands on a single unaccompanied sword. We'll be discussing what I mean by that in the next video. For now, once again, this time with the Zwerchau variant, beat, cut the leg, sweep back, step forward to engage. Kiss swords, thrust in, Zwerch, drop, notice I've reset my hips, cut, sweep, cut, scorpion thrust, and back. In the last video of this series, we'll be discussing the context of doing a single sword form that most people associate with the side sword with a small long sword like this. For now, I hope that's been helpful, and we'll see you next video.